I'm always somewhat hesitant to say, oh man, here's a great movie you should watch, but there's almost no way you can see it, because that's just frustrating. That's just a tease. This is a film that sort of fits into that category, but there is a way to see it because I just did, so I want to talk about it. This is a film from 1981 called Savage Harvest. It stars Tom Skerritt and Michelle Phillips. Those are the most notable faces in the film. Also, Anne-Marie Martin, who you might remember from Prom Night, and I remember as Lieutenant Dory DeRoe on Sledgehammer, the 80s TV series that was a spoof of Dirty Harry movies. So Savage Harvest takes place contemporarily in 1981. There's a family who lives on a plantation in Kenya, and there's a drought going on. And the drought has caused all of the lions, the wild animals that live up in the hills, to come down looking for water and food. And the only food they find is people. So this is the story. Basically, it's a siege film. This is sort of like if Night of the Living Dead was not zombies, but lions that were trying to eat everybody inside the house. It's a film I'd heard of. It's a film I'd often read about people saying they saw when they were a kid and it really disturbed them or terrified them. It's never been that easy to see. It was theatrically released in 81 by, I believe, 20th Century Fox, played in theaters. It came out on videotape back in that era, probably by the mid-80s, and then that was it. So if you want to see Savage Harvest now, you either have to track down an old VHS tape from the US or other countries, or a bootleg DVD, which they do exist. I don't cotton to that, but they exist. The way I saw the film was on YouTube. Somebody posted the film on YouTube. It looked like it was probably from a TV broadcast. It's zoomed to fill the screen, a modern HD set, but the composition looks right. So I think it was sourced from either an open mat TV broadcast or videotape. Visually, it's one of those where it's like, just back up from the TV a little bit. The farther away from your TV, the better it'll look. But it really did not hurt. The visual quality did not hurt the entertainment value. I thought this movie was a blast. It starts off a little bit slow. You get to know everybody, and you get the lay of the land, and you start to see these animals are hungry. And then it just goes nuts. It becomes this family barricaded in their house, trying to survive, trying to keep every crack and crevice sealed up so that these things won't get in, and not everybody makes it to the end of the movie. And let me tell you, you think, 1981, it was shot by a director who'd predominantly done TV. This may have been his only actual theatrical release. I think it was mostly TV, 70s and 80s TV episodes and TV movies. So it kind of has that style of pace and editing and photography that, kind of feels like TV. So you're lulled into this sense of they're not really going to show anything. When those animals attack people, it's brutal. It's a mix of raw meat and dummies, but the way it's shot and cut, it's just like it's brutal. And there are moments that are very creepy as these animals are getting closer to their prey. You don't necessarily feel for too many of the characters in the movie. A lot of them do stupid things and act way too cavalier for people who are in a house that are surrounded by hungry animals who want to eat them. The little Beatles sing-along that happens in the middle of the movie, it ends exactly the way I wanted it to end. And incidentally, I think that Beatles sing-along is probably why this movie hasn't seen video again since the 80s. I think the music rights are just going to kill it, because they sing All You Need Is Love, and I think She Loves You, or I Want to Hold Your Hand, and it's just like, yeah, this is why you can't get this anymore. Performances, they don't need to be very good in a movie like this. Michelle Phillips is fine, Tom Skerritt's fine. The people who, as you get younger in the cast, they get worse. As you get younger in the cast, you're like, I hate to say it, but there was one young character that I'm like, I kind of hope she just loses an arm. I don't want her to die. Maybe she just loses the arm. It was a lot of fun. This is a film that lived up to the hype for me. Now, maybe if you're watching it with a more contemporary mindset and eye, it might come off as a little hokey or cheesy. It might be laughable, but I think it's probably totally cool that way too, if you want to get some friends together and have a blast. I usually am not going to be one to tell you to watch things on YouTube, because anything on YouTube should not be on YouTube. In very rare instances are movies officially put on YouTube by the rights holders. It's usually just somebody who puts it there. They shouldn't be there, and most of the time they look terrible. Or people do something to make it so that the copyright flags don't work, and it's flipped, or it's backwards, or it's black and white, or there's a bug in the corner, or the sound's out of sync, or whatever. Savage Harvest played fine. There are a couple of versions on YouTube. I think there's two. I did the one that was called Savage Harvest 1981 480p. It worked really well. I would recommend Savage Harvest. If you like the kind of movies that I like, Savage Harvest from 1981 is fun and creepy and gruesome at times, and you get a nice little Beatles sing along in the middle.